So welcome. This is going to be the first in a three-part series on bringing Free Speech Week to your campus. So this presentation, we're going to focus on event ideas for your group. Our next presentation, we're going to go further in depth in preparation for the events that you guys choose to do. And the final presentation will review the success of the events and discuss possible improvements for future events. So, overview. It's broken down into 4 parts. First off, we're going to discuss why host a Free Speech Week. Why does it matter? Then we're going to cover the materials SFL provides campuses while planning to host Free Speech Week. After that, I'll go through various ideas, and finally we'll discuss ways to measure the success of those events. Why, you ask? So Dr. Horowitz's quote here, "The best argument for why free speech walls are necessary is that they keep getting torn down," illustrates the importance of promoting free speech on college campuses. Last year, 83 groups participated. Media coverage ranged from the Harvard Crimson to American University's The Eagle, not American Eagle, American University's campus magazine, The Eagle. So far this year, we've had 216 groups apply for kits, which means it's going to be much bigger this year. So materials SFL provides. So this year we're providing, and last year we were providing kits that contain some basic materials on free speech to help your campus in tabling, promotion, and publicity. These have pocket constitutions from Cato, Fire's Guide to Free Speech, SFL's new Censor This sticky notes. The idea is to place them everywhere. Flyers, buttons, stickers, sign-up sheets, and other items. If you go to the SFL website, there's a link to request the kits. Now, due to the huge demand for these kits, we've got 216 that people have requested. There's going to be a $10 shipping fee, and that's the same price as our tabling kit. Ideas. So here's a rough outline of some ideas for you to run during Free Speech Week. We'll be going over each one in more detail next. If you have any others, you're welcome to send them in to me in an email at the end. So the classic one, tabling. It's an easy way to promote free speech and your club. It's often people's first impression of your club. You do it during Club Fest, the beginning of the year. It's also very flexible. It can be an event unto itself, or it can be done in tangent with other events. You can host a movie and have the table set up nearby as well. In fact, I highly recommend whatever event that you're holding, have a tabling be a component of it. SFL, we even have a little handbook and a guide on tabling, and it's available online. Everyone's favorite, the Free Speech Wall. Now, I'm sure you all heard about Carleton University in Canada's Free Speech Wall, where it was torn down. So Free Speech Walls seem to provoke rather extreme reactions from people. There was a professor at Hofstra who took a box cutter to the wall. So for those that don't know, the concept of the Free Speech Wall is that you put up some paper with a bunch of pads and people can express whatever they want to in the community. It's fairly easy to set up. It's quite flexible. However, if you're planning to leave the wall up for an extended period of time, you should probably contact the administration and get their blessing. You should also consult your student handbook. Most universities require permission before setting up the table, and that goes for tabling as well, or even have free speech zones. Fire has a great database on university speech codes, and it's really important that you work with your administration and get their permission, preferably written in email. Last thing you want is a disgruntled administrator claiming that your club is promoting graffiti or something. Be prepared for a wide variety of responses. Next webinar, we're going to be discussing dealing with more extreme reactions in the media when it comes to free speech walls. Debates. Now, as crazy as it sounds, there's sure to be groups on campus that don't agree with your position on free speech. Instead of just ignoring them, engage them in a debate. Topics can be about campus issues, such as free speech zones or speech codes. They can also be about wider issues, such as, are there any limits of protest? For those in high school, dress codes are a great topic for debate. Op-eds. Writing articles for your campus newspaper is a great way to promote Free Speech Week and your events. So the campus newspaper is also usually circulated beyond the student body to families and alumni. It's also often put online. So you've got a much wider audience. Writing about free speech issues are central to your campus. They're central to your campus is a great launching point for an op-ed. An interesting op-ed actually would be on campus permits that you need for protests, or protest permits. Movie screenings. Showing a movie is a really easy way to involve club and campus members. Thank You for Smoking is a favorite. The club I used to run, we showed that for an event, and that was very popular. I haven't seen Indoctrinate You, but it's about speech codes and bias on college campuses. The Movie Picture Institute sponsors free screenings of this film on college campuses, so if you're interested, email Stacy Fulcher at stacy@thempi.org. Serving snacks and refreshments are a great way to get people to attend. You can also have a discussion afterwards to talk about the movie, and people can voice, what they thought about it, or if they disagreed with the movie's message, and that's always interesting. Guest speakers. Guest speakers are a great way to learn about the issues of free speech on campuses. FIRE has a guest speaker program for their college campuses. Contact information is available on FIRE's website. Currently, FIRE will be speaking at several schools during Free Speech Week: University of Chicago, University of Central Florida, American University. The list is quite long. It's on SFL's website. For more information about FIRE at those campuses, you can also see FIRE's website. Another idea, instead of having a guest speaker, your campus group can gather for FIRE's new webinar series. The first webinar will be an introduction to free speech on campuses and presented by FIRE's Director of Legal and Public Advocacy, which takes place on April 3rd at 6 p.m. So we've gone through all these different ideas for events you can do. And then there's measurability. Like, how do you measure if the event was successful or not? You need to know whether you're not going to do it next year. It needs to tell you what worked or not. Is the event worth repeating? So while planning the event, it's really important to figure out what counter you're going to use to measure the success of the event ahead of time. This way you can keep tally as the event is going on instead of going back and trying to estimate in hindsight. So here are some ideas that you can use to measure the success of an event. Community participation. Were people talking about your event? Did people share and comment on the op-ed on Facebook? New club signups. Maybe if you're tabling, it was the goal to get new contact information or new club signups. How many did you get? Attendance. How many people attended your event? Did they stay or did they leave halfway through? That's a really big one. Media attention. If you contacted local news about your free speech wall or wrote op-eds, what was the response? Did they show up? And lastly, outreach. Maybe your goal is to talk to the administration about free speech issues on campus. Were you successful? Did you have a meeting? So questions, if anyone has any questions or comments, please contact Wang at studentsforliberty.org. For those who have attended the webinar, I'm really interested in hearing what you're planning to do on campus for Free Speech Week. That way I can tailor the next webinar to be more about targeted at you guys and what you're planning on detail on how to achieve what you're planning to do. And thank you so much.